The new album from Scottish rockers Trav-iest called LA Times is pretty much standard fare for the band and doesn't see them pushing the boundaries of their sound too far. But that's absolutely okay because there are some truly great Trav-iest songs to enjoy on LA Times. Let's break it all down on this edition of Rock Album Review. Hey everybody, it's Nick here with you. Welcome back to the channel. So LA Times is the 10th studio album from Trav-iest. It's the follow-up to 2020's 10 songs. And 2024 so far has been a solid year for great music from, I guess, a little bit old school British rock bands. We had the new Liam Gallagher and John Squire back in January. We got new music from Kaiser Chiefs, Kasabian, and now Trav-iest. I think it's a good year for British rock. And I've been a Trav-iest fan for a very, very long time, going back to The Man Who was the record that got me into them back in 1999, although I do like that debut record, Good Feeling. And I discovered Trav-iest on that first record, The Man Who, and actually saw them open up live for Oasis when I saw them for the first time at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto back in the year 2000 on the Standing on the Shoulder of Giants tour. And I pretty much followed them on every album since then. I love The Invisible Band. 12 Memories is probably my favorite Trav-iest album. I love The Boy with No Name. And then I think the last album that I listened to that I really liked was Everything at Once. And I don't think I ever really listened to 10 Songs, which was their last record. But you know what? Trav-iest make sweet, beautiful Scottish rock music. Fran Healy is a great vocalist, and I've always enjoyed the band's brand of rather pleasant British/Scottish rock. And I listened to a lot of Trav-iest earlier on in their career, but over the years, I have to say that I've fallen off the band a little bit because my taste as a musician and as a music fan has really changed. I've gotten into a lot of heavier stuff, and although I love Trav-iest, they just not really appeal to me as a band as much these days. And I'm thinking, an album by a Scottish band, why is it called LA Times? Well, it turns out that Fran Healy moved to LA about 10 years ago. He built a home studio, and the majority of this album, LA Times, was actually written in Los Angeles. And then online it says that Fran thinks that this is the most personal Trav-iest album since The Man Who. I'm not really sure if that's true. I'd have to listen to the lyrics a little bit more and maybe listen to some more Trav-iest music in general over the last couple of years. But I think bands like to do that. They like to tie their new albums into their old albums because The Man Who was obviously a classic and seminal album for Trav-iest. It's the album that broke through for them and made them break through into the mainstream. So I can see for marketing purposes why they would want to thematically tie LA Times back to that classic album, The Man Who. And Trav-iest in general, like I said, has a great pleasant rock sound. It's a little bit more subdued, a little bit more on the quiet side, and not really much has changed for Trav-iest throughout the years, and they don't really push the boundaries of their sound on this new album, LA Times. Listen, I'm not expecting Trav-iest to go full on heavy metal. I know that's not going to happen. They're not going to turn into other Scottish rockers like Biffy Clyro, but I guess I missed some of the more, rock vibes on some of the albums like they had back on Good Feeling and The Man Who, but that's a small nitpick. And LA Times in general is a good Trav-iest album. Is it as good as The Man Who or The Invisible Band or 12 Memories? No, but it's still cool to see that Trav-iest is going strong in 2024 and still writing some really great songs. And LA Times is a Trav-iest album through and through. You got Fran's melodic voice, you have tasteful instrumentation, you got some great vibes on here as well. You really can't ask for more. And there are some songs on here that are super catchy, have some really great, huge choruses on them with some big gang vocals that I really enjoyed. Songs like Gaslight, Alive, Raise the Bar. Big choruses is something that Trav-iest has never really lacked. And it's good to see that Fran Healy hasn't lost his songwriting edge. A lot of older bands from that generation, from the 90s and the 2000s, they can't hack it anymore with the hooks, but Trav-iest definitely can. And at the end of the day, I have a lot of respect for Trav-iest as a band, but I don't really feel the pull to listen to them as much these days. Even the older stuff, which I only really pull out on occasion, I still love the band. I don't listen to them a lot these days. So let's get to some of the songs on LA Times that I really loved. I loved Raise the Bar. It sounded like Tom Petty or something. I feel like Trav-iest was bringing in a little bit of Americana on this song, had a really huge chorus with a lot of voices on it. That is a continuing theme throughout this record, had a nice snap to it. I really enjoyed Raise the Bar. Gaslight, like I said, which is one of the singles from this record, I think the first single, I think one of the strongest songs on LA Times, has some big pianos in the intro. I love the horns on here. I think this is one of the best songs on the record. It almost sounds like Chicago or something, going back to some of that jazzier rock from the late 60s, early 70s. It's a very jaunty tune, and I think it's one of Travis's best best singles in a long time. I love the song I Hope That You Spontaneously Combust. In addition to its fantastic title, I thought this was a really cool track. I was listening to the album and my ears definitely perked up when I heard this song. It made me take notice. Had some modern production on it that reminded me almost of like Beck or something like that, but that makes sense because LA Times was produced by Tony Hoffer, who has also worked extensively with Beck over the years. I really liked Home. I thought that was a super catchy tune, probably one of the top tracks on the record, had a really catchy refrain. And then I really liked Naked in New York City. It was a really nice acoustic track, but I'm thinking this album is called LA Times. Why do you have a song about New York City? Anyways, that's just a minor nitpick. They should probably just call the song like Naked in Santa Monica or something, because I think that would be more fitting for the theme of this record. But then there are some songs on here that I thought were a little bit more middle of the road. Didn't really jump out to me as much. The opening track, Bus, sounded like Travis, started out on a gentle note. It didn't really grab me. When I first heard Bus and some of the first tracks on this album, I was thinking, am I really going to like this record? Is this something that I'm really going to enjoy? Bus wasn't really the great song to start off this album. I think there are other tracks on this record, maybe Gaslight or some of the other ones, that could have started this album out on a stronger note. Live It All Again was probably my least favorite track on LA Times. I'm not a huge fan of Fran's vocals on this song. I can appreciate the style of this track, but it's not really my thing anymore. It's something that Travis has done a lot in the past. They've varied in their song styles, and this is one of the Travis song styles that I don't really enjoy. A couple of the other tracks on here, The River was one of the rockier tracks on the album, didn't really jump out to me as much. And then the last song was okay, LA Times, the title track. It started out with some Oasis, Morning Glory-esque chopper helicopter sounds in there. And I'm thinking, why is Fran Healy swearing so much? He's dropping a lot of F-bombs on this track, LA Times, and he's always been such a nice Scottish lad. I'm thinking, why is he doing this? It just sounds crass. Overall, I think that LA Times is a solid Travis album. It's not as good as some of their past albums, and it didn't really blow my mind, but it's okay. And I didn't really get like an LA or California vibe from this record. I think Invisible Band is an album that has more of that sunny California vibe to it. But you know what? They're Scottish. Maybe it just doesn't translate. Maybe I should just go outside and listen to this album in the sunshine, and maybe I'll get more of that LA Times kind of vibe. And at the end of the day, Travis is a really solid band. There are some songs on here that I think could go into the great canon of great Travis songs. They're not really reinventing their sound on their 10th album, LA Times, but really, is that a necessity? I don't think so. And there is a stripped down version of the album that they released along with the studio version of LA Times. I did not listen to it. I generally don't like alternate versions of albums. It feels like a little bit of a waste. I know from a record label streaming kind of perspective that to have another version of the album and another way for fans to listen to the album and enjoy the album is a way to generate more streams and generate more interest. But to me, when I listen to the record, I'm interested in the studio version, and that's pretty much it. So I did not listen to any of these stripped down versions of the songs from LA Times. And this is a quick listen too. It only clocks in at 32 minutes. A lot of the songs don't even crack 4 minutes long. So Travis kept things pretty short on LA Times as well. My favorite songs on LA Times by far were Gaslight. I think that's my favorite song on this record in general. Raise the Bar, Alive, I Hope That You Spontaneously Combust, and Naked in New York City. Those were by far my favorite tracks on this record. And like I said, it's been a good year for old school British rock in general. Over the last year in 2024, we got this new album from Travis. We got Kaiser Chiefs, Kasabian, Liam Gallagher, John Squire, probably some other ones in there as well. But I think 2024 in general has been a good year for British rock. So I'm going to give the new album from Travis, LA Times, a solid 3 out of 5. All right, guys, that is it. That is my review for the new album from Travis called LA Times. Let me know what you thought of the record in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure to click that thumbs up button. If you want to subscribe to me on the channel, you like to rock out as much as I do, make sure to smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future rock album reviews and future videos here on the channel. And you can follow me on social media across the social platforms on Instagram, TikTok, X, everywhere, at Nick Chino Music. But I'll see you guys again for another rock album review here on the channel. Until then, rock on, everybody.